Last week, I watched someone lose 20 minutes at the airport over one thing: a checked bag. Not TSA, not security, just a suitcase they thought they could drop like normal. They couldn't. And the worst part? More airlines are quietly changing the rules in ways that cost you time, money, and sometimes your bag entirely. In this video, I'm walking you through the new checked bag rules that are catching travelers off guard, and what to do instead so you don't learn them the expensive way. And stay with me, because mistake number 6 is the reason people end up sprinting to the gate without their suitcase. You know that feeling when you buy an economy ticket and your brain files it under, "Cool, normal flight stuff is included"? Then you roll up to the counter, slide your suitcase forward like it's routine, and the agent goes, "That'll be $35. And if you're finding that out here, you're paying with your wallet and your time. Here's what people haven't updated in their brain. On most big US airlines, your first checked bag is now a separate purchase, unless you've got status, a co-branded card, or higher cabin. Delta's own baggage page, for example, lists $35 for a first standard checked bag on many domestic trips without exemptions. Even Southwest, yes, the 2 bags fly free airline, changed the game for many bookings starting May 28th, 2025. Now, it's typically $35 for bag 1 and $45 for bag 2 unless you're in one of the groups that still gets free bags. And don't let the word international relax you either. On a lot of short hops, Mexico, Canada, Caribbean, a checked bag still might not be included, depending on your fare and when the ticket was issued. A friend of mine learned this flying to Cancun. They packed like it was included, got to the airport, and boom, bag fee both directions. Suddenly, that quick trip had a surprise extra $100 attached to it. So the move is simple. Treat the checked bag like part of the ticket price before you click buy. Pull up baggage allowance for your exact route and fare, decide early, and when the site tries to sell you a bundle, pause. Sometimes it's more than adding just the bag. And that leads right into mistake number 2, because even when you accept the fee, a lot of people are still wasting the one thing they can't buy back at the airport: time. This is the mistake that makes people think the airport is broken. Most of the time, it isn't. They just walked into the wrong line. It's usually the line where everyone's holding a suitcase with one hand and gripping their phone with the other, watching the clock like it's personally attacking them. And the weird part is, a lot of those people could have been done already. A lot of airlines and airports have split checked bag drop into 2 different worlds. One world is "I need help," payment problems, ticket changes, special items, oversized stuff, weird itinerary issues. The other world is "I already did the homework." You checked in on the app, you paid for the bag online, you just need to tag it and drop it. If you show up having done nothing ahead of time, you usually get funneled into the slow lane. If you show up already checked in, with the bag fee paid, you can often use the faster setup. Kiosks that print tags in seconds when it's smooth, and a bag drop counter that's basically a quick handoff instead of a full conversation. That's why airports feel worse now. It's not always slower, it's more divided. And the fast lane looks invisible unless you know the words. So here's what you do before you even leave for the airport. Check in on the Airline app, add the checked bag there, and keep the confirmation screenshot handy. When you get to the terminal, don't just follow the crowd. Look up at the overhead signs and read them like they're a menu. You're hunting for words like bag drop, self-tag, or already checked in. If you see assistance or ticketing, that's usually where time goes to disappear. And if your airport offers curbside check-in, that can be a lifesaver on the right day, especially when the inside line looks like a theme park ride. Just remember, curbside isn't always open, not every airline runs it the same way, and you'll have a little cash ready for a tip if you use it. And here's the part nobody warns you about. Once the cutoff hits, the system stops caring that you're standing right there. Cutoff is earlier than you think, and that's mistake number 3. This one catches people off guard because you can be inside the airport, standing at bag drop, and still be too late in the airline system. Most travelers think the deadline is departure time. It's not. For the airline, the real deadline is the moment your bag still has enough time to be screened, sorted, and loaded onto the right aircraft. Miss that cutoff, and it's not slightly late, it can be over. And here's the brutal part. Once that cutoff hits, the agent may not even be able to take your bag anymore. Not because they're being difficult, but because the flight may already be closed to check bags in the system. For a lot of major US airlines, that cutoff is often around 45 minutes before departure for domestic flights and around 60 minutes for many international ones. But it can vary by airport and route, so always check your airline. And don't assume a delay will save you. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. Building your airport plan around delays is gambling, not planning. So here's my rule. If I'm checking a bag, I treat bag drop like its own deadline. I aim to be there with cushion, not courage, about 90 minutes before scheduled departure for domestic and 2 to 3 hours for international. Also, don't overcorrect and drop it ridiculously early. Some airlines and airports won't even accept checked bags more than a few hours before departure. And even when they do, it may just sit until the system is ready. Are you team 90 minutes or team 45? Drop it in the comments, because next up is the mistake that gets people even when they thought they were on time. Picture this. You land, you're feeling proud because you made the connection, and then at your final airport, you're staring at an empty carousel like it's going to confess where your suitcase went. Here's the one rule that saves you. Your bag only automatically transfers if the route doesn't require you to claim it for customs. The moment you have to clear customs with your luggage, the airline can't do that step for you. You have to physically pick it up, walk it through, then drop it back off for the next flight. The most common place this catches people is the US. If you're entering the United States, even just to connect, expect a quick bag reunion at your first US airport. You clear CBP there, you grab your suitcase, you take it through customs, and you recheck it for the next leg. If you skip that step because you assumed they'll handle it, your bag doesn't chase you down later. It stays behind. Now, here's the one exception that makes this mistake sneaky. Not every country and itinerary works the same way. Some connections are smoother, and some airlines can tag bags through farther depending on how the trip is ticketed. That's why guessing is how bags get stranded. So instead of guessing, ask one sentence at check-in every time. Is my bag checked all the way through, or do I need to claim and recheck at my connection? If they say you need to grab it, don't panic. You'll see a whole stream of passengers doing the same shuffle, and airports usually make the redrop part pretty direct once you're through customs. And at this point, don't celebrate yet, because there's another way checked bags go wrong that feels even more personal. Your suitcase does make it, just not in one piece. Checked baggage isn't gentle. Your suitcase is going to get dragged, stacked, and bumped around in ways that would make it file a complaint if it could. So the mistake isn't bringing a suitcase, it's bringing a suitcase that was never built for the job. A lot of budget rollers look totally fine until they meet real airport life. And when luggage fails, it usually isn't dramatic in a movie way, it's annoying in a very specific way. A wheel disappears, the handle jams, the zipper starts creeping open. Suddenly you're doing that awkward one-arm drag through the terminal, trying to look unbothered while your bag is literally falling apart. So instead of getting stuck on hard shell versus soft side, focus on what actually decides your fate on a carousel. Wheels, handles, and zippers. Those are the parts that take the hits every trip, and they're the parts you notice failing first. And one frequent flyer move that helps without buying new luggage: pack a lightweight, foldable duffel inside your main bag. It takes up almost no room on the way out, and on the way back, if you picked up extra stuff, you've got an instant Plan B bag without panic shopping for luggage the night before your flight. And if you think a cheap suitcase is the only reason bags fall apart, hang on. Mistake number 6 is even more dangerous, because it happens right at home. This one starts at home with a totally normal sentence, "It'll fit." Then 5 minutes later, you're negotiating with the zipper like it's going to suddenly develop empathy. The bag closes, barely, and you treat that as proof you made good choices. But packing like that creates two problems at once. It puts the suitcase under constant stress, and it pushes you right up against weight limits, so now you're gambling on both durability and price. When a bag is packed to its absolute limit, everything is under tension the entire trip. Then it gets tossed, stacked, squeezed through the system, and that's when little failures turn into bigger ones. Zippers separating, seams giving, contents shifting, and if the bag opens up mid-journey, it's not a neat situation. Then the fee shows up. Overweight charges can easily be an extra $100 to $200 at the airport, depending on the airline, route, and how far over you are. And part of the reason airlines hit hard is practical. Heavier bags are a real injury risk for the crews loading them all day in tight spaces. And here's the part that surprises people in the worst way. Sometimes you can't pay your way out of it. Once you cross certain cutoffs, the airline may refuse the bag outright. That's when you get the airport floor repack. Suitcase open, people shoving clothes into backpacks, wearing extra layers, trying to turn chaos into something the rules will accept. So catch it before you leave. Weigh the bag at home, leave breathing room, and if you think you'll come back with extra stuff, plan for it. That foldable duffel trick? It's not just convenient, it can save you from turning your check-in area into a live packing tutorial. And that takes us to mistake number 7, where one tiny forgotten item can get your check bag opened when you're not even there. Ever unzip your suitcase at the hotel and instantly know somebody's been in there, even though you were nowhere near it? That moment usually isn't random, and it's rarely personal. Here's the accurate version of TSA Scans Everything. Your checked bag goes through machines first. Most bags clear without anyone touching them. But if the scan flags something that looks questionable, a TSA officer may review the image. And if they can't confirm what it is from the scan, that's when your bag gets pulled and opened to verify. So it's not TSA is rummaging through every suitcase, it's more like your bag got extra attention because something looked off. One of the fastest ways to do that is packing something that isn't supposed to be in checked luggage, especially spare lithium batteries, power banks, and vaping devices that got left in a side pocket weeks ago. And if your bag gets opened, don't expect everything to come back packed the way you did it. You may find a notice of baggage inspection inside, and your carefully organized suitcase may look like it got repacked by somebody with 30 seconds and zero emotional connection to your outfits. If you want a simple tamper evidence trick, use a bright zip tie on the zipper pulls, not for security, just so you can tell if the bag was opened. TSA can cut it if they need to. The best damage control habit, though, is way simpler. Take quick photos of your suitcase before you fly, outside and inside, so you've got a clean before if anything comes back messed up. And if you open your bag and something's missing or broken, don't wait until you're back at the hotel. Report it before you leave the airport and grab a couple photos on the spot, because the longer you wait, the harder it is to get anyone to take it seriously. Check bags didn't suddenly get harder because you forgot how to travel. They got less forgiving, and they punish autopilot fast. So pay for the bag early when it makes sense, use bag drop shortcuts when they're available, and treat bag cutoff like its own deadline. If you're connecting internationally, ask the one question at check-in so your suitcase doesn't get stranded behind customs. And before you zip everything up, do a quick pocket sweep, because sometimes one tiny forgotten item is all it takes to get your bag opened. And here's the easiest habit from this whole video. Before your next flight, snap a couple photos of your bag inside and out. It takes 10 seconds, and it can save you a whole argument later. Now I want to hear yours. What's the most annoying checked bag surprise you've had? A fee you didn't expect? A suitcase that came out looking defeated? Or the classic, it arrived eventually? Drop it in the comments. I read them, and a lot of the best future video ideas come from you. If this helped, hit like, subscribe for more airport survival tips every week, and I'll see you in the next one.